Show. Welcome, everybody, to the KQ Show, episode 14, Instructional Guide for Your Listening Pleasure. For those new to the show, hi, I'm Kyle. I'm just like everyone else. I wake up, spend an hour replaying in my head the time I made out with my 8th grade teacher, and then I start my day. Being homeschooled, I learned a lot about myself. I had what my parents would call the gift of gab. I love conversations, and frankly, I just love laughing my ass off. So on the show, I'll be chatting with business owners, CEOs, chefs, Long John Silver Crunchies, and left-handed crayons. So today's episode, it brings us talking with Executive Chef. I talk with Executive Chef from Notre Dame University, Matt Seitz. He explains how he and his staff feed thousands of students and the entire football team. We talk COVID challenges, and we also debate snacks, movies, and as always, a good conversation around mental health. Enjoy the show. KQ Show. Welcome, everyone, to the KQ Show, episode 14. Today's guest, former roommate and member of Felt a Thigh, licensed real estate agent in Florida, and currently the executive chef for the North Dining Hall at the University of Notre Dame, Mr. Matt Seitz.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Welcome to the show.
I'm very glad to be on the show.
Absolutely. Third intro we had to record because I don't know how to pronounce things. But
well, that happens, you know. It's not a big deal. We've already been here for an hour and a half now, so.
Well, I mean, your shirt's off. That's strange.
Well.
So what I really want to talk about your gig, man. Like we talked about before, you weren't the executive chef last time we talked, and I got looked up stuff online, like some of the videos and that. So I mean, it seems like there's a lot that goes into your gig.
A little bit.
Yeah. So what is your exact role, and what goes into it?
So a little bit of everything. My fellow chef and I on campus, we like to use a pizza analogy where other people in other departments will have to worry about like the slice or the topping of the pizza, and yet we have the whole fucking thing. And so, obviously the cooking aspect of it and menu development, recipe development, and making sure we have all the ingredients and the sourcing but then also the accounting side of it and the HR side of it. And I spend probably 60% of my job in front of a computer.
For real?
Which I never thought would be the case.
Being an executive chef.
Yeah. You go to culinary school to be in a kitchen and to cook, and then the higher up you go, the less time you spend in a kitchen and the more time you spend in meetings and planning sessions and dealing with accountants and trying to figure out sourcing and sustainability, and especially in an operation like mine at Notre Dame where it's such a big, vast operation. And we're talking where like I spend $7 to $9 million a year on food. Jeez. That's not something that a normal restaurant will normally do. And so it's a big operation. And we're doing things on such a large scale where like just recently I needed to buy 25,000 pounds of meat.
Jesus.
That's not something you can just call up and be like, hey, man, hey, Steve, send me 25,000 pounds of meat. Like that's not, yeah. So that's something we work through our purchasing agent, and she has to work with different people, and she's like, hey, I'm getting this to this person. I'm like, I don't care, just get it. Like, as long as it's pork, as long as it's pork butt and I can smoke it, I don't care what it is. Just, send me 14,000 pounds tomorrow, and then the other 10, and she's like, okay, cool. Like, she's like, so you're good with spending $100,000 on meat? I'm like, yeah, that's totally fine.
It's either have nothing to eat or yeah. So who are you, like, who all do you feed then?
So, and during the normal school year, I feed the general student body, and then also the football team is fed through my operation as well. So we're doing anywhere from 5,500 to 6,000 meals a day. Jesus. So how many employees does that take to get all that done? A lot, like 4.
Just one guy.
It's just me and a blender. No, we've got probably all in. We're at about 125 staff members.
Gotcha.
Total between production side and service side, and it has its challenges, just like everything else.
So I do got to play the video. Let me find it here.
Oh, there's media. What do you got?
Oh yeah, dude, your mini clip. Here we go.
Executive sous chef Matt Seitz and his crew with Campus Dining work together with the team's nutritionist to come up with each victory meal.
They always want surf and turf. So like the filet lobster, or last week we did, 2 weeks ago, we did ribeye and crab legs.
Shout out Allison Hayes, good friend of mine.
It also said how much meat, how many fillets? It said it was like how much?
For that particular meal, about 130.
That's nuts. So I mean, I can't imagine how big the kitchen has to be.
It's not very big. Not as big as you'd think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just all about preparation and and organization, which I had to learn very quickly because you've known me for quite a long time and know that I am not an organized individual. You're shaking your head no, yeah. Well, there's no camera here, it's audio.
Yeah, wouldn't put that in your strength category. But I mean,
well, no one would, including all of my bosses previously. But that's something that takes, you have to kind of learn as you go, because if you're not organized and you don't have all your ducks in a row, you're not getting, you're not going to have a 3,000 person dinner service and be successful with it.
So what was the difference then when you went your last gig and then to executive chefs? You said obviously more paperwork. I mean, how did it happen?
A ton more paperwork. So recently, my old executive chef was promoted. He's now the executive chef of all of Notre Dame. Kind of a big job, for a man that's 39 years old. And
oh shit, damn, that's nice.
Yeah, and so then I took his old position as executive chef at the dining hall, and I always knew he worked. I just didn't know how much. Shortly after I took over, and him and I were talking, he's like, I was like, "Hey man, you want your job back?" And he was like, "No." And he goes, "You didn't think I did a fucking thing." And I was like, "No, I just didn't think you did all this." Like,
you know where you went for 60% of the time.
And you know, and he's like, "Well, keep in mind, I had you though. Like, you don't have a you yet."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, that's a fair point." But it was the biggest thing was just more the administrative side and sitting in more meetings. And I'm just like, why am I in this? Like, why am I here? I don't need to. I don't care. You know?
I don't care about putting these numbers in here.
I don't care. Like, just send me the stuff and I'll cook it and we'll call it a day. So I'm getting into that mindset of, you know, this has got to get done, and I kind of just go from there. So it's been a long couple weeks. I will say that we've been very, very busy with having some different events going on. So
yeah. So you're not part of the if they have like events at the Joyce or anything like that?
If they're very large events, I will be asked to help out, but generally no.
Okay.
I mean, I'm talking large events, like if there's a meal for 4,000 or 5,000 people.
Gotcha.
Then yeah, they're calling in. They're calling in the guys who do that every day.
Yeah. Like, that's easy. Yeah, I already got it made up.
Yeah, but like the smaller events, I'm not usually involved with.
I got you. So COVID. I also you were on they covered your there's another motorcycle, by the way. I love living here. It's just
my ride. I got to go.
I like to use the entrance music for people. Just so I saw you also the news about the COVID protocols when that all the.
Oh God.
So what all do you have to change, and how that's?
We had to change everything. So obviously COVID happened. I don't know if you heard about it.
I have Corona.
I just had one of those. It didn't. A lot of people didn't know about the COVID. It didn't make the news.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So yeah, I mean, obviously that happened in March of 2019, right?
2020 is when they shut the world down.
2020 is when the world ended. I actually was in Florida when it happened. And we sent the students home for spring break and then just told them don't come back.
Yeah.
Except for the 300 foreign students that couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I was about to say, what of that?
We had to house them and then also feed them as long as they were here. So that was a bit of a curveball. And we sent all of our staff home and said, don't come to work, and we'll let you know when you come back, and we'll pay you.
So there was no loss of wages or anything during the time then?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Not for anybody, from hourly staff all the way down. And even then, as far as where I was concerned, we went into a rotation where I'd work 4 days and then I'd take 12 days off and work 4 days and take 12 days off, which was great. And you think it's awesome, right? But when you're a single man, you live at home, and you also happen to be a professional chef, what do you
gained a bunch of weight?
Yeah, you're gonna just start cooking a bunch of food, and it was 40 pounds ago. So that was a challenge. Still working on that. I'm gonna, but that was a huge transition for us. And then when the decision was made to bring the students back onto campus, it was then kind of brought to us of okay, they're coming back. You have to feed them, but they can't sit in the dining room.
Yeah, I don't.
And they can't be around each other. And you have to serve everything in to-go boxes. And
to go where though?
I don't know, somewhere else.
Just so they just had to be. They couldn't just be.
So we set up. So this decision was made way above my head. I don't know who, medical whatever, decided that if you sit outside in a tent, you're less likely to get COVID. I don't understand it. So we set these giant golf tournament tents out in the quads that had sidewalls and heating and flooring. So it's a fucking room anyway. So I don't know why you're saying, but they're like airflow, like, whatever. Cool, airflow. And so they had the option to go out there and eat their food or go back to their dorm room and eat their food.
So it was a cafeteria inside the little tent? Like
no, so they
would
come into our dining room in, we were only allowing a couple hundred kids in at a time to pick up food and then to leave.
Yeah.
And so they weren't allowed to sit in the dining room. They weren't allowed to, we normally do a buffet. It wasn't a buffet. It was, here's what you're eating. Have a good time. Some dark times, man. Shit got dark.
So what was the worst of it?
The worst of it was just the fact that I started referring to it as we're serving shit in a box, because it's not what any of us ever wanted to do or go to school for. I mean, yeah, like you take a beautiful piece of fish that you've grilled and then put a wonderful butter sauce on it, and then you put it in a goddamn styrofoam container. I mean, like what's gonna happen to it? It's not gonna be good. So that was a huge challenge from a culinary standpoint and from a mental standpoint. I think everyone has had the same issues. Hopefully it wasn't just me.
No,
it was a lot.
I think it's every human.
It's every human being. Every human being, and this is way off subject. Every human being should be in therapy. I'm just putting that out there as a blanket statement, just across the board.
Oh, wait,
it just works.
I don't disagree.
Let's be honest, it works. But the biggest thing with COVID was the fact that everything had to go in a to-go container and everything had to be disposable, which from a food standpoint was awful, and also from a cost standpoint was terrible.
Yeah, how much would it cost just to keep all that?
A lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I spent $1.4 million on to-go containers.
Jesus.
To the point where I was calling our vendors and saying, just send me a semi-truck of whatever you have.
You're putting meat in little cups.
Like, I mean, we did at one, like, because there was like this, because then every restaurant was doing to go.
Yeah.
And there was a massive shortage of to go containers. And so that was a huge problem. And then it led into supply chain issues of now everyone's out of everything. And so it's been a rough couple of years.
That's
from a culinary standpoint.
I mean, it's kind of like your artwork, right? I mean, you're
absolutely. I always tell people I'm not artistic. I don't play music. I don't paint. Whatever. Like, but you food is art. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, it's food, but it is in a way. And I'm a little jaded by it because I'm not into fine dining where you're serving stuff on like a $50 plate, and it's but there is art to it, to what you were saying, and the players, they absolutely loved it, the food wise until the. Yeah.
But I mean, it seems kind of things are kind of back to normal now.
Yes. Oh yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Things are definitely back to normal. Campus has returned to the way it has been in the past and the way it should be. And
so nobody, no turnover or anything. Nobody left or nobody quit or
Brian Kelly.
Oh, well, I meant besides the.
Thank God that fucker left.
So I take it you weren't a big fan, or?
Oh my God, I hate that guy.
I don't. I always work on Saturday, so I never really get a chance.
Like, I not even care about the football. Like on a personal level, he was just a dick.
Like what?
Oh man, he'd belittle people. He would I almost went off on him once. That probably would not have been a good career move. He was ordering an omelet from one of our omelet cooks at a breakfast service, and he's yelling at her. I don't say yelling. He was loudly talking to her. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I don't get why she's ignoring me. She's not. I'm like, Coach, she's deaf. And he goes, well, she shouldn't be here if she's deaf. And I was like, well, that's illegal.
Yeah, that's
so
worst thing you could.
And I literally was just like, what do you and I wanted to be like, you fucking cocksucker. Like, I mean, you go stomp a curb. Like, I mean, what I mean? Like,
quit yelling at a deaf girl.
You can't quit yelling at the deaf girl. Like,
why can't you hear me again?
She was born that way. Like,
so new coach, excited about him?
Yeah. Marcus Freeman, outstanding guy. Just a good young breath of fresh air. A quality human being. Just a really really good guy. Very positive, very upbeat. The players love the guy.
Yeah.
I mean I'm hoping they have a great year. Which is awesome because in years past I'm like, fuck it. I hate Brian Kelly. I don't care. But he's Marcus Freeman's.
So what do you think?
He's the real deal.
What do you think he's going to do different for? Because now again, because I don't know a ton about college football that much, but like a lot of times when a new coach comes in, he still has to kind of have the people that the previous coach kind of recruited and that. I mean, do you see, like, what's he changing about the team?
So the biggest thing I think he's changed is, and I don't know all the ins and outs, obviously. I just know things I've heard from being involved with the program, and I have some friends with the program. Brian Kelly was never the biggest recruiter, whereas Marcus Freeman's out there on the road all the time. And he's in players' houses. And
he's knocking on doors and stuff.
And I think it shows by the fact that they just had the #1 recruiting class in the country.
Oh, yeah? I didn't know that.
And so maybe 1 or 2, but I mean, it's up,
up there with Alabama?
One of the best recruiting classes they've ever had.
That's badass.
And so, I mean, you look at like 5-star quarterbacks and, things like that. So Marcus, from what I'm hearing, is really kind of, beating the pavement when it comes to being out there on the recruiting trail, whereas some other coaches I hear more like hitting the golf course.
Yeah. Well,
nothing wrong with that. I love golf.
Hey, at least we don't have Charlie Weiss anymore.
Oh, I got the Charlie Weiss story.
Do you? Oh, yeah, man. First off, so obviously we worked at Best Buy together, so we'll roll right into him. But I remember meeting him one time. Oh my God! And I've seen you get frustrated, but you don't noticeably not with a customer. And this is years of working with you. Like you wouldn't really be rude to the customer.
No, I was straight up rude to his face.
Yeah, and I was like. Then I went to talk to him, and I was like, yeah, you're fucking right, because I did the same thing. I finally go, I don't give a fuck what you need done. You can't just... So you want... Because he would talk about Chris Sauter. Well, they should be up there in events running stuff. I'm like, do you understand that that's not a thing? Humans don't... That's movies. Nobody climbs through vents like it's Die Hard.
It's not John McClane.
Get to run the wires. Like, let's run it right into your furnace.
God, dude, that guy.
And his wife was such an angel, dude. She was the nicest human. Like... I don't get it, man. I was like, and I probably should. Why do you do this to yourself?
Yeah,
I think didn't she started like the Hannah's house?
Yeah,
and then I think it's still a thing.
Still a thing.
Yeah,
so I think it's now with somebody gave it off to Logan Center or somebody. I don't exactly know, but it's still in existence. It's still around. Yeah, she and by the way, he did some good things for the community, but he was just such a dick.
Yeah. So what was your? Because
dude, and so I wasn't with Notre Dame at the time. I think maybe like a year when Charlie Weiss was there, but I didn't have a lot of interaction with him. But a lot of people just had some interesting stories about Coach Weiss, where the fact that like every morning he would want a T-bone steak and a pound of bacon delivered to his office.
He's gotta have.
That's not a joke. Like every morning,
coach. Don't they get like a health coach? Somebody.
I mean, as long as it's kept like in a hot box hot, like it's fine. You mean health coach? The nutritionist. I'm sure the nutritionist was like, well, but also they don't care. Like they care what the players are doing. They don't care that the coach is upstairs eating a pound of fucking bacon.
A pound?
Yeah.
Every morning.
Every morning. And a T-bone steak.
I mean, that's just. I'm surprised he's still alive.
Is he?
Oh, actually, I don't know. I really don't know. Rest in peace if he's not. I feel bad.
I don't.
I'll be canceled on my 14th episode.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah, this is it. It was a good run. Yeah. Did a great run.
We almost made it.
You have Matty Seitz on, and it's over.
They were taking my living room, too.
And then a buddy of mine was telling me that he was doing a catering event, and Coach Weiss was there, and he had to do like tableside, like carved prime rib. And he carves him a piece, and he's like, all right, cool. Just go and wrap up the rest of it. I'll take it with me.
Hold on. So, like you carve off of like a
like off of like a 15-pound.
So and then he takes it to somebody else to.
And then he's like, just go and wrap the rest of that up. I'm gonna go take that with me.
That thing's still able to run. just send that.
And they were like, yeah, just give it to him, like whatever.
I mean, to be honest, if I was a head coach, I would take advantage of weird stuff. Just I'd be like, but not.
Yeah.
Who's the biggest, like, because I know obviously, there's always people at Notre Dame, celebrities, everything else. And what's the weirdest encounter you had, or like the biggest celebrity somebody you met, or somebody you just really wanted to meet?
I mean, I've met Joe Montana. Most of it is centered around football. Mm-hmm. I did an event with Mike Golick a couple times. Mike Golick is an amazing person.
Yeah,
he's funny. He's awesome. Yeah. He's very super down to earth.
Went to school around here, or
he went to Notre Dame.
Okay, that's right.
And his kids all went to Notre Dame.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But he would come in and do recruiting events for football, and I'd be there cooking food. And he was just a super nice guy, super down to earth. Recently, Ecto 1 was on campus. That was awesome. The car from Ghostbusters.
For real?
Uh-huh.
Did you get in it?
I opened the door.
And they told me to close it immediately.
And I was like, they wouldn't let me get in it. I asked to drive it, and they looked at me like I was a lunatic. But I mean, you gotta ask.
You gotta
right?
go big, and then maybe you can just open the door.
I'm like, well, can I sit in it? And they're like, well, I don't even know if it's probably locked. And I was like, let me look. And I was like, it's open. It's not locked. They were like, close the door, please.
Look, the keys are in it. Let me just get out of here real quick. Oh, was that when Mannings were there?
Yeah. So I didn't get to meet him. I saw him. I didn't get to meet him. The problem is I'm always in the back when all these things happen. Now, my brother-in-law has the coolest job on campus.
What's that?
He's the director of the football stadium. And so he gets to meet everybody.
Just everybody in your family just has the most random, unique jobs. Like your dad owned the bank, your brother is a principal, you're like head chef. Like,
we're weird people. We tend to do odd things.
Like I have your entire family on from episode 14 to 30.
Go ahead. So he has gotten to meet some really cool people. And he always has awesome stories about it. He's like, Garth Brooks is a super great guy. I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like,
yeah, because is he? So
you get to kick it with Garth? Like, what the hell?
So what does his job entail then? If he's
literally the director of operations for the football stadium.
So anything that happens,
the day-to-day operations,
anything that's happening in
the stadium,
that's bad.
And he works very long hours.
I would imagine so. Yeah, you're going to be getting phone calls all the time.
And him and I were sitting around when he got that new job, and then I got my job, and my boy, the university puts a lot of trust in some younger individuals. And I'm 38, not that young, but he's
recently 30. Happy birthday!
Yeah, thank you. Silva's 32.
He is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you obviously have to have a degree to get that. So this dude is like out of what, maybe 23 years old out of college.
He started with the university, I think 11 years ago. The university put him through school, and they just worked his way up and has worked his ass off and works incredibly hard and tons of hours. And my sister hates it because.
Yeah, of course.
Football Saturdays,
Now, which is this?
He's gone. This is Maggie, my little sister.
Wow, your little sister.
Yeah, so Silvio is her husband.
You think, was she like
31, 32?
Wow, that's crazy, man. That's awesome.
They have a little 2-year-old. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, congrats.
Yeah. Wow, I don't have anything.
Well, I mean, I guess I just got to show up and be a terrible uncle.
I shut my phone off on Father's Day.
So single now? Every time I see you, there's something else going on in your life. You know? So I do have one question, though. So I saw online.
I hope you have more than one. Otherwise, it's going to be a real short podcast.
Oh, I've got a bunch of them. No, but just stuff that I was thinking about. So you traveled with Aaron Prairie for his 40th?
I did.
Portugal?
Yeah. We went to Portugal, and Aaron's a really good friend of mine. We went to Portugal and then Oktoberfest in Munich. Okay,
because I wasn't sure if because again, your social media is pretty bland, by the way.
I don't.
You don't do anything. You just are tagged in things.
Yeah. I don't do anything.
I had to scroll through me tagging you in my show for the first 3 months.
Yeah, I don't do anything.
No, but it says that was the real Oktoberfest then.
Yeah, in Munich.
Cool.
That was unreal. If you ever have an opportunity to go, totally worth it.
Yeah.
Aaron was turning 40. This would have been 2 years ago, and he was like, we got to do something. Like we got to kind of blow it out, like 40th birthday, And he's like, obviously we'll do it he was one of the first. And he's like, everybody, like we got to have it, I'm like, well, what do you want to do? Like what? He's like, let's go to Europe. I'm like, all right, okay.
That's a big.
We're
big
blowing
place.
it out. All right. And he's like, let's go to Oktoberfest. I'm like, you don't drink beer that much. But whatever. So it ended up being just him and myself and our good buddy Garrett. Mm-hmm. Just the three of us were the only ones that actually like pulled the trigger and did this because everybody else was like, you guys are out of your damn mind. And we knew we wanted to go to Munich and then to another city. And so just through a confluence of events and the way the flights worked out, we ended up with like a 56-hour layover in Lisbon, Portugal.
56
It was
hours.
just like the way you're there and 2.5 days later your flight. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's do that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, Lisbon, Portugal was a hidden gem for us.
Dude, the pictures are fucking
Dude,
badass.
It's unreal. It's such an old city. It's very hilly, like cobblestone streets, colors, unbelievable, like colors of buildings.
Shit you see in movies, basically.
Exactly, yeah. And, on the water, and then we took this winery tour, and we didn't know what was happening when we did the winery tour. We thought it was the first day, and it was ended up being the second day, and so we're like sitting on the street corner, like male prostitutes, I guess, very low rent male prostitutes.
You get your good jean short cutoffs on.
Yeah. It's my jorts. No, I don't own those. Anyway, so we ended up we ended up meeting our driver for this winery tour outside of Lisbon. And he comes and picks us up in like this van. And I'm like, Aaron, where are we going? Like what? Like this man is either going to take us on an awesome adventure or he's going to take us somewhere and murder us.
This is it.
Like this is a good knowing you boys.
Write your
notes. Been fun. Yeah. Call your family. And he ended up taking us like 2 hours outside of Lisbon to their wine district, which I didn't even know existed, and just had an unreal day. Literally at one point, we went to 4 different wineries, and at one of them, we were sitting in the winemaker's living room as he's like explaining the wine and drinking the wine, obviously, and like cheese and bread and all this stuff. And his hands are dyed purple red from the grapes.
Just from years?
Like, just like that's permanent. Like, that's not coming off. And it was just this like kind of surreal experience where like I'm sipping a glass of wine and he's explaining the nuances and the process, and like this guy made this shit like with his hands, you know.
Like I can see it now.
I'm like, oh, this is great, thank you. Yeah, that was, and then we went to Oktoberfest. Boy,
so because I don't even know what Oktoberfest even means.
All right, so Oktoberfest is a 3-week long, maybe a month long celebration. Obviously in Germany, that started as, I believe, it was the wedding of some prince, and it was like the celebration of the wedding.
Okay.
And then that just culminated. It was, from my understanding, it was like a bunch of beer stuff and a bunch of beer halls and people just hanging around drinking. And then they started like this carnival aspect because the dads were sitting in the beer hall and the kids needed a place to go.
Is that how Disneyland started?
I think so. Yeah, it's Walt did this. Walt did it right. And so like as like the dads are in the beer hall, and then like the mom and the kids are on like the carnival rides, you know. And this was hundred years ago, I don't even know. But it's awesome. They put up these. They're buildings, but they call them tents, and they're tents. They're makeshift. They take them down at the end when it's done, and you have to be at a table to get a drink. To get a beer, and obviously they're served in giant steins and they're liters. And I think day one I had 11.
Now again, since from America, so is that 32 ounces of?
Yeah, roughly
right around there.
Yeah,
that's probably
of like German beer.
Yeah,
not like
how do you even fit?
not like
so
not
thick.
like Bud Light.
It's like just so thick. I don't even know how. Probably a lot of peeing, I would assume.
Yeah. But I mean, we did it up. Lederhosen.
Oh, for real, like all of it?
And peeing in authentic leather lederhosen is its own challenge.
You're sweating out the beer.
I mean, it was, but it was awesome. It was a great experience. I would go back to Oktoberfest. I would go soon because I don't want to go when I'm too old, because then you can't. But it's amazing because these like old German dudes sit there all day and just pound beers, which I guess is fine when you start at like 16 years old.
Yeah,
and you can do that.
Your tolerance just becomes
yeah. So,
So you also went to, while you went to, was it Ireland, right? Did you go to Ireland to watch Notre Dame play?
No, I did not. I went to Ireland probably a year before that game, maybe 2 years before that game. That was the trip I went to. So my older sister, who worked for Disney for 25 years, had a job where she would sell the Disney Vacation Club property, the Disney timeshare service, and she would sell it on their cruise ships. And so she would spend a good portion of her summers in Europe, floating around the Mediterranean on their cruise ships.
Seemed pretty frustrating job. Yeah.
It's horrible, right? Well, I was trying to have a family or whatever. But
I got you.
But the beauty of that was that Disney would pay for her to get to Europe. And so it would, they're like, yeah, whenever you're going, you can go, and you're going over there for work, so it's covered.
Okay.
But she had so many travel miles, so many frequent flyer miles from all the flying around she did. Yeah. She literally flew me to Europe twice with her for free.
You got to use these for the
literally, yeah. She's like, "Hey, I got to be in Barcelona on June 1st. Do you want to go spend the last 2 weeks of May in Europe?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course. That sounds great." I'm like, "What's it going to cost me?" She's like, probably nothing." I'm like, "Okay."
Sign me up.
So like her and I we went to Paris for like 10 days, and then we spent 5 or 6 days in London and 4 or 5 days in Ireland, and I mean, like the course of literally over 2 years, I went to Europe like 2 or 3 times.
What was the coolest place anywhere you've been?
That's a hard question. Ireland's really cool.
But I remember the pictures, and I was like, "Damn, that's crazy!"
Yeah,
like just
everything is green, and it. I mean, it lives up to the name. I remember flying into Dublin, and we had to like circle around, and you just look down, and it is green everywhere. I mean, the whole place. All you see is green. Which I mean, it's called the Emerald Isle. Like it.
Isn't it's always rainy?
It was very rainy.
Like
it was overcast,
yeah.
but just beautiful. Back to the question of my favorite place. It's probably Paris.
Yeah?
I loved Paris.
What about it?
The food, the culture, the history. I mean, you're literally walking down streets that Napoleon marched down after he conquered the known world. Well, you don't have that. Obviously, I love America.
Yeah.
You don't have that here.
Well, there's a couple brick roads
there's
downtown
some brick.
South Bend and Jefferson.
Absolutely. You can stomp down there.
Yeah.
But, you know, and there's a lot of history, and the food and the culture and people in Paris, you know, everyone, they get that bad rap of people are rude. I didn't experience that at all. Everyone I met and interacted with was very polite, very nice, very welcoming. You know, as long as you kind of tried to speak the language, and they were like, "Nah, man, we all speak English here. Like, it's fine.
I'm just fucking with you.
Stop butchering our language, and I'll just ask me where the directions are, and I'll tell you where you need to go."
So that is a question. So the language barrier wasn't hard. I mean, for all these places, I mean, was it?
I've never had a problem with the language barrier, and I think that, and I've spent out of the country. I've spent most of the time in Europe, but they at a young age. They teach you multiple languages over there. And so I've never had an issue where someone's been like, I don't speak, you know,
I got you.
I don't speak English. Everyone I interacted with on all of these trips has always spoken English, usually better than me, which is great.
It's like, well, I mean, that's your main language.
Yeah, I dabble in some.
So you ever do the 23andMe? Like, what's your heritage from?
Germany and Ireland, and I believe Wales. But I don't know. I haven't never done anything like officially of that.
Yeah.
But I know Seitz is my last name. It's definitely it's a very German name.
Yeah, and I mean your complexion looks like you're also me too. I think I'm all set.
Yeah,
there's no Native American. There's no any.
No.
It's all white.
97% Asian. You didn't know that?
Well, I could see
Pacific
that.
Islander.
Yeah.
No, there's actually it was kind of cool in Munich. There's a Seitzplatz in downtown Munich.
For real?
Yeah. So I obviously went and got a picture with
Of course,
that. But I've done some cool stuff. I've had some cool adventures.
Man, I remember when you lived here and you had the
the Japanese slot machine.
Yeah.
They yelled at you randomly.
It was so scary. You didn't warn me that it was randomly yelled. I would just hear it go,
Dude, and it wouldn't even be like when you're playing or like when you hit the jackpot. It'd be like 4 a.m. while you're in bed, and it's like, oh, you have to go. You're like, what is happening? Oh, God, is someone breaking with a samurai sword?
I remember Serge was here. He's like, how do you do this thing? And then he won. So it just did a bunch of crazy stuff.
I had never even seen that. I was like, oh, Serge, you got to put all those coins back in, man.
What are these? I don't know, man. Just
some weird Japanese token. I don't even know. I still have that.
Does it still work?
I don't know. It's in my storage room in my basement. I should probably pull it out and see if it works.
Oh, yeah. Pop that thing in there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, the old felt of thigh. I remember when I moved in here and your legendary no sense of smell and the bathroom. Do you remember this?
Mm-mm.
Oh, man. I moved in and I was in my room. I was like, what is that smell? Something is just horrible. And I finally was like, oh, the bathroom, I don't think it's ever been like thoroughly cleaned.
No, I would agree with that statement. At that point in time, no.
I mean, we're talking like 10 years ago, 11 years ago, right? I mean, it's been
19?
a long time since I lived here.
12? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, probably,
yeah.
probably 12.
This October will be 12 years. That's crazy.
And
it's been cleaned twice since.
I was like, Kyle, it smells. You're like, I don't have a sense of smell. I'm like, okay, well, but someone had to have told you.
No one does. See, I don't get it.
And I went in there with bleach and like scrubbed the whole bathroom. And I remember you walking in, you're like, boy, like I can't smell anything, but it just like it seems fresher.
It's brighter. Was this white before?
Look, it doesn't smell anymore.
Look, there was a dead werewolf for 6 months.
I don't know what happened. There was a bird in the corner. But it was great. It was a good time living here.
I was going to say it on the intro for you. I was going to remember we made what's that fake name generator? It's Matt Seitz. He's the regional coordination development manager of the Tri-State Intercontinental Series.
Like the regional big screen specialist.
I'll say that. Hey, I put some the dumb. You're a tube TV control analyst. Like, just say some dumb. Should be the longest name tag.
Dude, we used to mess with people so much at Best Buy.
You did a shot of Malort's.
Oh my God!
What the fuck happened to the world? And I fell for that too.
Ever?
What is it?
I don't know.
I don't know either. It's like somebody poured gasoline and then just dipped it in a rag.
Like they poured gasoline and diesel fuel in one can and just mixed it up.
I don't get it, man.
It's the worst stuff I've ever had in my life. My neighbor is 100% Polish.
Is it a Polish thing?
Apparently, I don't fucking know. And it was on Dingus Day, and he's like, "Oh, you want to do a shot of Merlot?" And I'm like, "I don't know what that is, but whatever." And it was horrible.
It's fucking gross.
I still don't even know what it is.
Me neither. Like I got tricked by Allison Featheroff. I got tricked by she. Yeah, try this shot of Malort. You don't know what to do. I'd rather, like it was. I would rather have a cement mixer when I didn't know what it was. Put this in your mouth, shake your mouth around, and all of a sudden it was just like, I would rather take that than whatever the fuck was Malort's. Because even when you swallow it down, it's like it wants to come back up. It's like your stomach's like, no, you don't want this.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like straight acid. I mean, I wasn't 100% sure what happened.
What's the drunkest you ever been?
Oh my God.
Or one of them.
Oh. A buddy of mine's bachelor party. We rented a cabin in Tennessee.
Who's this?
My buddy Matt Edwards.
Edwards.
You know Matt. We rented a cabin down in Pigeon Forge, Gallenberg.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
Right, and a couple nights, right, and like night 2 or 3, and a buddy of mine's egging me on. He's like, "Hey, you don't ever drink booze. You just drink beer." I'm like, "Whatever, man. I like beer. I don't, whatever." And I've been drinking all day, and he keeps egging me on. I'm like, "Whatever, man." I'm like, "Fuck it, whatever." And I took like a 5th of Jack Daniels, and there was maybe a half, 3/4 of it left, and I just chugged it. You know, I mean, like, fuck, you know.
Yeah, you don't do liquor that much.
No, I mean, I drink like vodka occasionally. I just drink beer.
Yeah.
And I chugged this thing, and I put the empty bottle down, and they're all like, "Oh, shit, like, this isn't going to go well." I'm like, you know, like, "Yeah, remember that, man?" And maybe 30 minutes later, I'm just projectile vomiting the macaroni salad that I ate earlier.
Oh, good Lord. That sounded fun coming up.
Oh, God. And I actually don't even know how I remember this. But I'm in bed still like vomiting, and I remember like 3 of the guys like getting me out of bed, stripping me down to my boxers, and throwing me in a shower. Because I mean, it was just like I'm covered
just everywhere.
Yeah, and like they're stripping the bed, and and so big shout out to those guys. Thank you. Because otherwise,
they antagonize you. So
otherwise I'm sleeping in vomit.
Yeah.
And then we had to drive back to South Bend the next day, and I think we had to pull over like 3 or 4 times so I could puke on the way back. At somebody, and I think my buddy's brother has a photo of me vomiting on the side of the highway with a "Welcome to Kentucky" sign behind me. Which I want that picture. Because we literally had to stop on the side of the road, and I had to get out and throw up. It was legitimate alcohol poisoning. That's the drunkest I think I've ever been.
Was that the most hungover you've been?
Oh my God, that was like 4 days.
Yeah, that's bad.
And 4 days at like 23.
Yeah,
right. Not like this bachelor party I just went to in Fort Lauderdale 2 weeks ago, where now we're 38 and.
So you're still hungover?
Oh, no, I'm fine now. But like, I got back like Sunday. It was like Wednesday. I'm like, God damn it, I still feel awful. Yeah.
You see, I have this thing now. It's a radar. I've had it about a decade. It's a radar. It's called brownout. Once I hit a brownout, like I'll get to the level where I remember.
Yeah,
I'll remember I saw you. Yep. I won't remember what we talked about, but that's when I go, I have to go. Then I'm out.
I kind of do the same thing where like I know I'm at that point where I know I'm gonna like one more and I'm gone.
Yep.
And I will just like I'm good. Time to go home now. Like it's time. It's time to move on. Did you ever watch
Which, fun fact, by the way, Jurassic Park movie is phenomenal. Like,
Yeah,
everybody hates it.
No, they're great movies.
I like that. What's
the new one comes out soon.
Yeah. Chris Pratt's awesome. Like,
dude, he's unreal, and the fact that he's Andy Dwyer. I mean,
his outtakes, dude, on that show, I knew right away he'd be a star. Like, if you watch the bloopers outtakes, it's like you watch him and he's like the shit he does. When he's standing there and he just farts, and it's like a 14-second fart. But he just keeps a straight face with Amy Poehler. He's like
so great.
Yeah. No, everybody's hating on the Jurassic Park movie.
They're good. The new one comes out the 10th. I'd like to see it.
I remember when I was sick, staying home from school. Whenever I was sick, I'd always want to watch Jurassic Park 1 through 3. Like, I don't care how sick I am. I might only be 2 hours sick, but I'm gonna watch all 3.
Well, there you go.
The third one's pretty garbage, but
yeah, but it's part of the deal.
Yeah. Well, shit, man. Hey, so we're gonna wrap up, but I wanna hit with a couple questions. I always hit people with 2 things. What makes you happy?
Oh boy,
it's a loaded one.
That is a loaded question. I mean, a lot of things make me happy. Cooking, obviously, and just hanging out with my friends, my family. I'm generally a pretty happy person. It wasn't always the case, but I mean, I'm generally just pretty happy-go-lucky and just enjoy. I try to always enjoy the moment, and that's the best I can do is just to be present in everything, and not take things for granted. And so I think just being part of things, being involved with my friends and my family, and cooking good food.
Yeah.
I mean, good food.
Yes.
I mean,
it's the heart of everything, man.
Well, I mean, good food, good wine. Yeah. I mean, that's about it. Just being around people that I want to be around that also want to be around me. Like, I'm at an age in my life where I don't have time for people that I want to be around. I don't want to deal with it, and I do feel bad at times. But at the end of the day, like, if I truly don't want to be in that person's presence, like,
yeah, it's
I don't have time for it. I mean, just
it's one thing you can't burn yourself keeping someone else warm.
Yeah,
I don't remember where I heard that quote.
It's a great quote.
But I was you're fucking right.
I think that's a Kyle Quick original.
No, I definitely read it somewhere. I mean, I'll take credit. $4.99 every time somebody says it.
No, but I totally agree with that. Like, yeah, you can't continue to deter yourself to make others happy. And if you're going to be around people who want to try to change you or who aren't happy, like, this is me. Like, I'm me, whatever. If you don't want to be around it, fine. Like, best of luck. But, I don't. It's just, you guys got to be around people that you want to be around, and surround yourself with people that will also support you and support the decisions you make, and just be there for you.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I think you got a great sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's crazy to see that the same people that you kind of knew in high school, and they were all good people.
I'm very lucky. I have some very good, very close, very long-term friends that I've been around forever, and a group of guys that I can call right now, and they're there in the drop of a hat, which is awesome.
Yeah. So so last thing, what's the best advice you ever been given?
The best advice I've ever been given was probably from my father, and it was, if you wake up one day and you truly don't want to keep doing what you're doing, it's probably time to do something else. And no matter how bad your days are or how rough, like, you've had a rough day, you had a rough week, whatever, if you continuously wake up and you're like, man, this is just, it's not for me. It's time to do something else, and you should do something else. Make a change in your life. Don't be afraid to make that change. And at the end of the day, you got to be happy with the decisions you've made.
Yeah.
And the people you surround yourself with. And if you're not happy, nothing else fucking matters.
Yeah. You can't keep getting that paycheck.
And if you surround yourself with people who don't want you to be happy, those people can probably go fuck themselves.
That's awesome, man. That's pretty bad. And also, congrats, your pop's retired, right?
He did.
Yeah, congrats. I mean, that's awesome. And I saw that...
he's now fully retired. He had a very stressful job. He worked a lot of hours.
Yeah, I remember that putter thing he had in the bathroom.
Yeah. Probably still there. Yeah, he retired, and he semi-retired about a year and a half ago, and then fully retired about
So he's still on the board?
No.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
until when he retired, he was off.
Yeah.
No, so last thing, man, I was due for end up, is there...
I thought you were going to ask, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Do you want to answer that question? Because some people are like, I'm tired. Some people are tired of hearing about it. Actually, you know what?
I have thought in-depthly on this.
If we're
because I've listened to most of the podcasts. And if you haven't, you should. Because it's very good content. This is, by the way, something you should be doing because you're very good at just...
I appreciate that.
This is a great call.
Thank you.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
I'm asking you.
I'm going to fire one back. Is a bratwurst a sandwich?
So let me.
Oh,
first off, because you've got a degree in this realm. So
yes.
So for me, answering the question means the guy that has no sense of smell and his taste buds are shot.
Fair.
So it's more along the lines of do you feel? What is your thought process on this hot dog?
So I'm going to give you a technical answer, and then I'm going to give you what I actually think. So technically, if you actually think of the confines of what a technical sandwich is, yes, it is a sandwich. However, no, it's not. It's its own thing.
Okay,
right?
so thanks for not answering that goddamn question.
No, it is, I mean, but I don't think that, I think of a sandwich, I think of like 2 slices of bread.
I do think,
I think
a sandwich has
a defined border.
The bread is separated.
Correct.
I think of a sandwich, like I don't think of a wrap as a sandwich or
it's a wrap.
Or a tortilla.
A taco is not a sandwich, it's a fucking taco.
A taco's a Hispanic hot dog. I can't back that
You
up.
can thank Taco Bell for the whatever.
For the Nacho Grande.
Without Taco Bell, there is not the influx of Mexican food that there is right now, just for the record.
Oh, yeah. And their bootleg Hispanic food. Like, that's not...
they didn't. No one in Mexico puts tomatoes on anything.
No grade E ground beef laying
there? No, hell no. You have some steak out of cheddar with some fresh lime juice, cilantro, and onion. Call me in the morning.
That's 4 things I didn't know that were words, but that's cool.
But a hot dog it's not a sandwich. It's its own category. It's its own thing. I think you lump like bratwurst and Polar sausage in with that same thing.
But the answer, what if you had to? Because I think that first, here's my thing with hot dogs.
Is pizza a sandwich?
Fuck out of here! No, pizza's not a sandwich. Is a lasagna a sandwich?
Is it not an open face sandwich? It's on bread.
Incorrect.
Okay.
That's not a sandwich. You can just lay like an open face sandwich. You know what? That's not a fucking sandwich. I don't care I don't care what your face is. An open face sandwich is just a poor person folding that in their hand with 1 piece of bread because you didn't have more than 2. You only had 1 piece of bread. So guess what? Yeah. So yeah, the open face sandwich is confusing. It's just it's bread. It's
not a sandwich. It's shit you put on bread.
You put too much in there to not be able to hold it in one thing. So maybe make 2 sandwiches.
I'm with you.
I think the hot dog world. Again, like I'm not a connoisseur at all of food because I can't be. I have no sense of smell, so my taste buds are shot. I can't, like flavors. Like Starburst is all sour. Skittles, all sour. I know they make different flavors, but it's all the same.
Hey, they do, and they're delicious.
Well, hey, the red one tastes a lot like the yellow one, man. I don't know if you eat them both at the same time, they taste the same.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
But no, like the hot dog industry I don't get. Because to me, there's not a fucking difference in any taste of a beef hot dog. I'm not going to dabble into that.
I thought you were going to say you don't get it. Like, why do hot dogs come in packages of 10 and buns come in packages of 8? It doesn't make any fucking sense, right?
Financial increase. Yeah, we get that. Yeah. But no, so like my thing is like when somebody goes, "Oh man, dude, you haven't been to fucking Beefy Bob's hot dogs, dude." What they do is they put the hot dog on a bun, and then you can get relish and other stuff. And I'm like, well,
First off, I would never go to a place called Beefy Bob's hot dogs. I feel like all he's going to serve me is his penis on a bun.
Well, you obviously have not met Bob. Because that's exactly what it is. But no, like I don't get it. Like there's a lot of hot dog places. Like A hot dog just to me is a hot dog. Now you start jumping into brats and you get your seasoned brats. You get the right ones.
You get flavored brats. There's a whole different.
Yeah, that's
a whole different aspect.
Yeah.
Man. You go to like Nick St. Clair's butcher shop and get some Philly cheesesteak brats, and they're absolutely outstanding.
See, and but I don't understand people. Oh man, you never had a hot dog from here? It's a hot dog.
I get what you're saying there. Difference? However, there is a difference when you're talking like an all beef quarter-pound hot dog and a fucking Oscar Mayer scrap, whatever's left on the cutting room floor hot dog. There is a big difference there. However, at the end of the day, a hot dog is not a sandwich.
It can't be because
it's a goddamn hot dog.
If you're that's like somebody going, hey, is bologna a sandwich? Bologna's a meat.
Bologna's a meat.
Because you could have a hot dog a lot of ways. I've had hot dogs when I was younger without bread. You know what it was? Yeah. It was cut up small into my macaroni.
Yeah.
That was a hot dog. So is that a sandwich? No, it's not.
No. I was anticipating that question. Just I had to stop because
the thing is the hot dog's not a fucking sandwich. Like
it's not a sandwich.
We're way over 90% of people saying this, so I got to find new questions because I can't. Is cereal a soup?
No, cereal.
Yeah. Is melted ice cream a soup?
No, it's ice cream.
Exactly.
Who do you have on this thing?
These are questions. Christ. These are questions people have asked me, and I'm like, I don't think that's a debate. Like,
no,
is up down? What? No.
Is the sky blue?
Well, hey, be careful. You start, the sky's fake and the earth's flat. We're not going to go down that journey.
Anybody who thinks the earth's flat should jump off it.
Matty, I'm a huge flat earther.
I'll get that.
I can't do it with a straight face. I tried. I lasted a half second.
Anybody who would tell me the earth is flat should go to the end and jump off.
I just think that two questions. Where does the sun go?
Exactly.
Flat earther. Where does the sun go? Because guess what? China, it's sunny, and here it's dark.
Yeah.
Or whatever's on, maybe I'm not. Whatever's on the opposite
it's
side
all
of
just
it.
sunny the whole time.
If we're on a disc, that means I should be seeing.
Yeah, what do you think? It's like Truman Show and there's lights up there?
Where does the sun go? And then explain to me the tides.
Yeah, you can't.
Two things. That's my only two questions. And it's frustrating because, I'm very dumb. Like when it comes to science, and basically anything that we went to school for. The opposite, sales, finance, all the shit that they didn't teach us, I'm pretty good at.
They don't teach you budgeting and taxes and things like that. They should.
I think that Frankfurt is the capital of Wichita.
We have technology.
I don't understand how the flag though on the moon.
Oh my God, you're gonna go there?
No. How did they do that?
What do you mean?
They made it look like it was waving in the wind or something.
They twisted the pole.
I don't know what you mean.
And that caused the flag to wave.
They what?
Okay, when they went on the moon.
Because I don't again. So moon, like everything just stays.
I'm a nerd, right?
That's why I'm asking you this question. Yeah.
Thank you. When they go on the moon, right? They put a flag in the Earth, the moon.
Mirth.
I've had 6 years. And then they like twisted it to put it in, and that caused it to kind of wobble back and forth. That's my theory. That's what I'm saying.
So because it stays in the shape that it was. Because it's
not like constantly moving.
Right, like if I let this go, it would just be floating there.
I know, it would fall. If you let that go, it would fall. There's gravity there.
Well, the flag's lighter, though. But like the lightness of the flag, we would have... I don't know. But that's the only question I don't have an answer for. I don't know.
I mean, we went there, just for the record. We went to the moon.
Yes.
We went to the moon.
Where's the fucking sun go?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And Bigfoot's real. I don't know about that one.
Bigfoot is real. I tell you what, man.
God, we're going to be here for 6 more hours talking about shit.
I think we've almost wrapped up, but then we hit some good questions. Good questions.
There's valid questions out there. I feel like we could just have our own podcast of you and I just talking about random stupid bullshit. Which no one would listen to, but it'd be great.
First, I'm bringing Rhett too. He's
that's fine. Oh no, you bring Rhett here. Like now it's like 15 hours.
We Shout out Rhett. Conversation.
Yeah, I mean,
what if me and Maddie just sat here talking about where the fuck does the sun go? If there's some flat earthers listening,
they just flip it off.
Yeah, is there a switch?
Turn the switch
no, Jesus he's on the other side.
There's one guy. His name's Bill, and he flips the switch.
He's got one gig.
He's like, oh, it's 8:30. I got to flip the switch.
He's at 11:59. Done.
Heaven forbid Bill catches COVID. There's just fucking sunny everywhere.
Why is it so sunny? Bill got COVID.
Hey, Bill called off today, man.
He called off. He's the light guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Can no one else do his job now? He didn't train anybody to flip that switch.
Let's squish it. Make it round. Let's just squish it. Make it round. It'll be easier for everybody. I do.
Chet's out there squishing the earth together.
Push. not doing it.
Like his wife's in labor.
Yes. You can do it.
This should have been the whole podcast.
This is it. I'm gonna delete everything but this 6 minutes right here of just nonsense flat Earth talk.
We went down a rabbit hole there. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we took a break and then we both became really old. Matt caught a hand cramp.
Dude, it's so bad. Yeah. Welcome back to the old man podcast where we get hand cramps by holding a beer.
Man. So I had. Oh shit. So first off, fun story.
Go.
Going to a liquor store at noon in Indiana is a fucking journey because now in Indiana you can buy alcohol on Sundays, which was the greatest, invention ever. So I walk in there, man. There's like 75 people waiting. Used to be Bill's. Now it's Mega. I go in there. Is it still not moving?
Still happening. My hand.
Well, I mean, if you have a heart attack here, listen.
I mean, let's just call my lawyer.
Can you say call my lawyer?
911.
Oh, I don't think that's the first person you should call if you're just...
No, if I'm having a heart attack, I definitely don't want to call my lawyer.
No, so I'm waiting.
He's just going to let me die.
So it's like noon, I'm waiting, sitting in my truck, waiting. It's like 12:08, 12:10, and finally they open. Like, all right, cool. So I get out, but my legs had fallen asleep. So I'm doing this weird puckered butt walk. Like, because both my... I'm like...
Like you're really going to take a shit?
Yeah, I was here for 13 minutes. Why are my legs asleep? So I'm trying to... walk in there, and I'm trying to get by people, because once you go in, everybody's flocking, and like everybody grabbing random stuff.
You're like a zombie.
So I'm standing there, I'm standing there in a line, holding a little 12-pack going, oh my God, man, my legs won't wake up. Like, I was like, I can't feel I'm gonna pass, I'm gonna fall on the goddamn ground in fucking mega liquor, getting drug out by, some cats holding.
I mean, at least you're not in small liquor, you're in mega liquor.
It's very large.
Yeah.
Very large liquor store.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, I feel like if you name a place Mega Liquor and it's like 400 square feet of shelving space, you probably shouldn't call it Mega.
Yeah, they block out the aisles so you can't steal stuff.
Yeah, just call it regular liquor store then.
Regular liquor?
Regular liquor store.
It's the worst.
Well, why would you call it Mega?
Listen, as your financial specialist, we have Mega's way sounding cooler than regular liquor. Dude, Mega's right down the road, bro. It's probably bigger.
Yeah, it's definitely bigger.
We gotta go to Mega, man.
Bigger.
You'll stop my regular...
I'm gonna open a small-ass liquor store and call it Super Mega Liquor Store.
Way mega-ier. Just some shit that doesn't even make any
Mega
sense.
times 3. Like, what?
What, you been a Mega Cubed? So speaking of...
Mega Cubed, we only hire people named Megan.
Speaking of ending the podcast an hour ago.
Sorry.
It just never ends. I'm not mad about
Need more Ritalin. Or I take it. I ingest it like I'm supposed to.
See, I take
it's doctor prescribed.
I do Adderall. Just the same.
Prescribed by my therapist.
The same I've been prescribed since I was 20.
Yep.
And what's weird is if I try to balance my because Adderall is weird. Like because I'm ADHD as fuck.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah. It works for me. It gets me all right, cool, boom. Kind of controls my brain. People that
calms me down.
Yeah, people that take
like
it sometimes. Yeah. It stops my brain from going, hey Kyle, think of 900 things at once and then figure it out. I'm like,
yeah, it's like someone's sitting on you, just like don't say that ever again.
So how long? So you said you've been to therapy. How long have you been doing therapy?
I mean, off and on for my life.
Like mental health. I guess we'll roll on with this show. Keep us going all night. But no, like honestly, mental health is a real thing.
100% mental health.
When everything goes bad, then I got to fix the rest of it. And it was just
and it just piles on and it keeps going. And that's when I mean, at some point, everyone needs an outlet. Everyone needs something, and whether that's therapy, whatever, go play golf, go whatever. Everyone needs something else to take their mind off of the stress of everyday bullshit. Especially in a situation where you're leading people or you're trying to you're trying to be in charge, and leading people, managing people is not for everyone, and it's horrible at times.
Yeah,
I mean, you get these people who shouldn't have graduated high school, and they can't tie their shoes, and they're like, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" You're like, "Well, you're supposed to do whatever I fucking tell you to do."
Your job, please.
Yeah, you're supposed
part
to
of your job.
You're supposed to do your fucking job.
Do a little bit of it today.
But like, everyone needs something, and if you don't, congratulations. But that's like 1% of the population doesn't like it's a real thing. It's an issue. And I think, and I don't want to go into, but I think that with what happened in Texas recently and the whole, like, mental health is an issue in this country. It needs to be addressed. And it's not just a certain segment. It's everybody. Everybody. And there's a great comedian named Taylor Tomlinson. Have you ever watched any of her Netflix specials? She's hilarious. But she starts
I do remember doing it. Yeah.
She starts out one of her things with talking about therapy, right? And she's like, who's in therapy? And people raise their hand. She's like, oh, mostly women. That's the problem. Like, men need to, like, it's a thing. And it's not unmasculine. It's not unmanly. Everyone needs help at some point in their life. You can't tell me you don't.
Right.
Everyone needs help.
Agree.
I don't care if you're the richest fucking guy in the world. I don't care if you're Elon Musk. At some point
he's probably got so much therapy. He's probably got like a heart of therapists.
But like at some point in your life, whether you're a CEO of a company, you're a chef, you're a podcast creator, guy, whatever the hell your title is now. I don't know what the hell it is.
Regional
sales director. Regional sales director for Kyle Quick Podcast.
South Central
for the KQ show.
Intercontinental Championship Series.
Championship Series, Daylight Savings Time. Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time. I mean, everyone needs help, and everyone needs something, and someone just to talk to. And
I think it's something that, honestly, the biggest thing that I was like to kind of bring to this podcast, and I'm kind of glad it came up now. Shit, is that mental health in men? I mean, people they won't talk about it.
No,
like they'll battle their own journeys.
Because it's right. Because it's
not masculine.
There's a stigma and a stereotype about it, and I don't care what everybody says. Like it's a real thing, and it's nothing to be ashamed of, and it's nothing to hide, and it's nothing to stray away from. We've all had our struggles in our times, in our lives, and we've all fought through it, and at least those who are still here have fought through it and gotten through it. I wouldn't be the man I am today without the help that I've received over the time. It took me a while to get to the place I'm at today, and I'm totally fine with where I'm at. You asked about being single earlier, like whatever, I'm fine with it. Like,
it
wasn't always.
Is that one of the things that?
I mean, relationships have always been tough in terms of when they end, and then it's, then I go down a fucking rabbit hole, and it sucks. And but I mean, it's taken a long time to get to where I'm at. And I wouldn't change anything for it. I wouldn't even take away the bad.
Yeah.
Because that has built the person I am today. And I think that's the thing with everybody. Like, exactly. You learn more from failing. Right? Like, you learn more from losing. Every championship team needs to lose at some point. You learn more from failing.
Yeah.
Like, every recipe I've ever come up with myself, and I've tried, and I've tested, and I've ran, it takes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times before you get it through where it's ready to be served.
Yeah.
They're like, well, what do you do?
You taste test the shit out of it until.
Well, yeah, and they're like, but if you're at home and you try to and you cook something and it doesn't work, what do you do? I'm like, I order a fucking pizza. Yeah. I mean, like,
you go to I got some burnt pork belly in the backyard.
I call Papa John's. I mean, what do you want from me?
Take the bones out, give it to my dog.
You cannot be afraid to fall on your face and fail, even if it's publicly, because you learn more from that. And it may be embarrassing at the time, but you're gonna look back on it years later and say, man. Boy, am I glad I fell on my face. Yeah.
But it was just until it started to really affect me. And I'm one of those people, like, I'm going to just talk about my shit. Like, I'm just going to throw it out there because honestly,
because it helps you. It helps you get through the shit. There's a great story, and you ever watched the show The West Wing back in the day?
No, I did not.
Right? It was an awesome show. And there's a great scene in that show, and I can't remember what episode it was. The whole show is actually about, this whole episode is about this gentleman and going through some stuff, right? And he walks out, and his boss is sitting there, and it's he's been sitting there for like 3 hours, like waiting for this guy. And he goes, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Well, I'm gonna tell you a story." And he goes, "So this guy's walking down the street, and he falls in a hole. The walls are steep, he can't get out. I actually shocked I remember this whole thing, right? And he says the walls are steep, he can't get out. He tries climbing out, he keeps falling back in. He can't get out, he keeps falling back in." And he's standing there, and a doctor walks by. And he says, "Hey, man, I'm in this hole. Can you help me out?" Doctor writes a prescription, throws in the hole, keeps on moving. Stand there a little bit longer. A priest walks by. He says, "Hey, Father, I fell in this hole. Can you help me out?" The priest jots down a prayer, throws it in the hole, keeps on moving. Finally, his buddy walks by. He goes, "Hey, Joe, I fell in this hole. Can you help me out?" Joe jumps in the hole. Our guy looks at him and says, "What the hell are you doing? Now we're both in the hole." Joe says, "Yeah, but I've been down here before. I know the way out."
Wow.
And so if you don't lean on people that have had the same experiences, have been through the same things, that resonates. I watched that 20 years ago. I still remember that. You got to rely on the people that have been through it before. And if you don't listen to their experience, you're just doomed to repeat the same mistakes they made.
Yes, it is. I mean, this is what's gonna, this is what's gonna spike us right here. This episode right here.
This is it.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's gonna call me. He's gonna be like, "Hey, man, I heard you on the podcast. I've been following you since episode 7.
Seitz guy.
You had Matty Seitz, man. Hey, you guys are right with the sun and the flat Earth. Where the fuck does the sun go?"
45 minutes later, there we're at.
And we're right back.
Right back to the Earth is round, people. You're listening. Still round.
You're goddamn right. And definitely got to get your bro in here, man. That'll be dude. Can't wait to hear your stories.
He listens to every episode.
I'm glad. Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely got to have him on. Do you want to talk about your I don't know if anybody really can come visit you and get food.
They can't.
Damn. I was trying to get myself in there.
Call me. And
okay.
Yeah,
I was thinking to get a press pack. I make a couple press passes.
It's fine. Yeah,
okay.
Just call me
in there.
Yeah,
all right, awesome.
I'll just in the back door.
Also, can I do wear the pads and play with them during practice, or?
I mean, we can maybe call some people.
Okay.
See
right. I'm not physically.
I doubt it. But
okay. Yeah, I'm not physically ready for that. I'd like to sit on the back of a sled. I can do that.
I can definitely get you in the stadium.
All right, I'm in. All right. Well, hey everybody. Thank you for listening again to the KQ show. Thank you, Matty Seitz.
Thanks for having me here. Anytime. I'll come back anytime you want.
We'll need to get more than 12 beers, it seems.
It's fine.
You drink as fast as I do. It's startling.
We both had 6 or 7. I think we're good.
Oh, easy. All right, everybody. Thank you again for listening to KQ Show. I like to sing at the end. KQ Show.